Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Golf Business Live with the NGCOA, National Golf Course Owners Association. I'm your host, Michael Williams, and it is a pleasure to be here. It's been too long. So much has happened. National Golf Day. I've actually had my own kind of international golf week. As you can see, there's some flags here from a great trip I took to Liverpool, England, where we got to play golf at some of the finest golf courses in the world. And I got to see my beloved Reds, actually, too. Liverpool, all you Premier League fans will know about that. But we got a great show here for you today, talking about what you like to talk about, which is the ownership and operations of great golf courses in this country. We're going to start off with actually one of our favorite things, which is owner to owner, because it gives us a chance to really sit down and talk to some of the people who are doing what you're doing and find out what they do, and most importantly, how they do it and why they do it and why it can work for you. Joining us today are a couple of the board members from the National Golf Course Owners Association. We have a young man who is, I think, is it possible to admire somebody who's so much younger than you? But I do really kind of admire this guy. He's been in every phase of golf. He's played competitive golf. He's been a golf professional. He's been a successful sales executive in the business, and now he's a golf course owner in Nashville, Tennessee. Of course, I'm talking about the owner of Franklin Bridge Golf Club, Brooks West. And also, well, what else can I say? But she is the Wizard of Fun. Everybody knows her. She needs no introduction. She's done everything, and everybody knows about it already. And we're just trying to find out what she's going to do next. Please also welcome to the show the great Allison George. Brooks, Allison, welcome to Owner. How are you?
Thank you for letting me go first. I appreciate not having to follow that.
So good to see you, Allison. That big smile. How are you?
I'm well.
Good. Glad to hear it. Thanks to you both for making the time. I know we're right in the middle of the 100 days march, as I used to call the middle of the golf season, and you got plenty to do. So thanks for taking a minute to talk to us about what you guys have been doing. I want to start with you, actually, Brooks. I am going to start with you for a second because, I read your resume recently. And as I said, in a short period of time, you've done so very, very much. And now you've tagged this whole golf course owner thing on the back of it. You've been a pro. You've been a competitor. You've been in sales. You've been in golf course ownership now. Which of those is the hardest?
Well, you left out caddying, and caddying is probably –
There you go.
Caddying is maybe the hardest, but just because you're dealing with a golfer and golfers are nuts and extremely mental. So no, those are some interesting experiences. But yeah, I mean, like the definition of difficult, hard is it changes in life. Like different seasons of life. Because it's all relative. It's very difficult to compare struggle or success. So yeah, I would say that. Golf course ownership has been the most rewarding, but it's just a whole different thing when it's yours and when you're ultimately responsible. I remember when I was coming up the ranks at Yamaha, I had all these ideas and all these criticisms, and if they would just do this and all they have to do is that. And I don't remember if somebody said this to me or if, God said this to me, but I just remember saying to myself, it's a lot easier to be right when you don't have to be. And so just a way of trying to humble myself, given I wasn't the one trying to make the final decisions. And ultimately, when I ended up, at the end at Yamaha, I saw behind the curtain of all the things that go into decision making. And certainly now, halfway through year 6 of operating what I thought I was buying a small business, but this is not a small business. And yeah, so it's definitely, there's just so much more complexity, sort of the definition of success changes. And even when you're successful, meaning the course is full, the revenue is high, the customers are happy, all the KPIs are good. It's not come in, sip coffee, go play 18 holes, sit in the pub and have a beer and count my bets and then go home and, kiss my kids. Like that's not what operating a successful golf course looks like. And I don't know if I thought that, but it's certainly not what it is.
No, what you were describing is a golfer, not a golf course owner. Two very different things. Come to the course, spend some time, go home and enjoy yourself and put your feet up. I can literally say, been there, done that. And there's a lot of wisdom in that, Brooks. Thanks so much for sharing that. Allison, Well, yeah, I mean, you've done so much. You've been so instrumental to sort of changing the way people think about operating a golf course and what people think about coming to a golf course. So we talked a lot over the course of the last couple of years about the new people are coming into golf and the way it's changing, the perceptions. And you're on some Make Golf Your Thing committees, and so am I. Do some work with that thing. I know we see it in the numbers. Are you seeing it at the golf course still, that influx of new golfers? And I guess I would ask, are they asking you to do different things that even challenge your imagination for how the golfing public, what they want to do when they enjoy themselves at the course?
I don't think so, but I also just naturally do things a little differently. Prime example is we have a miniature golf course, and there was a stuffed animal that was left behind, this really cute little stuffed dog. And I just felt terrible about it because I remember when my son was small, he carried a blankie with him, and we accidentally left it behind on a vacation. And it was traumatic losing this security blanket. And so I posted online, hey, can you help us find this young owner? I mean, I felt so horrible when I saw this cute little stuffed animal. And it was interesting to me because the comments were all about, we just love how family oriented this golf course is. And I think growing up on the golf course, I grew up on 10T. I now live on 10 fairway. It's sometimes hard for me to recognize that it is a business because it's more just like my home. And I'm with my family every day. And so some of the things that people maybe expect of me, I just do it naturally because I treat them all like my family. And I view that as a compliment. I get people constantly telling me that I'm one of the few golf courses where they feel welcome to bring their children.
So I love to hear that the family thing, is such a thing at your golf club, because people think, well, you can only bring family to, a country club where you have, swimming and all these things and that sort of thing. But golf, that's for kids, a golf experience that's for the full family. I think that's that's a huge draw. That's a huge thing, especially now where there's so few things that you can do as a family that actually are fun and affordable. That's a really great draw in the community. I'm going to stay with you, Allison, and ask you a question. I'm going to share with you, Brooks, too, which is, I guess, so the other thing we'd heard about, of course, coming out of the pandemic was supply chains and supply lines, things being so expensive and so difficult to get, even, if even you can't afford them. Is that all over now? Or are you having trouble getting anything, or supply lines open? Has anything changed as far as that's concerned operationally?
I think it all depends on what you're looking for. I recently, built a flight, as we call it, the flight zone. It's a top tracer facility. Construction is still very difficult. But as far as getting product and range balls and, things like that, those types of things aren't really an issue anymore. What I personally struggle with is, with inflation, somebody has to be the end game. And, who's going to actually take it in the shorts. And we have chosen to frequently be the one to take it in the shorts, because I cannot consciously charge what I probably ought to be charging. This goes back to it being a family-oriented golf course. We have, deal on Mondays where it's only $27 to play golf, and wow. People, they thank me for it. And I still make, in my opinion, a decent amount of money because, they eat and drink, and they don't eat and drink if no one's on the golf course. So, but that's the part that's somewhat difficult because, you have all of your, fertilizer and payroll. We've increased our payroll by almost $5 an hour over the last couple of years. And so, that at the bottom line, that that doesn't sound like a lot to your employee. But it ends up being $150,000 to the bottom line that we're adding on to payroll. So, those are the types of things that we kind of struggle with, and we just try to be comfortable. I don't want to price myself where no one plays golf anymore, which you could very easily do. And so because I kind of view myself as the bottom of the golf chain, if you will, where it is my job to get people addicted to golf. And I don't ever want price to be a barrier. And then you have a mid-level of, the addicts are now good, and they go to this level of a golf course, which would be more, expensive than mine. And then you have, the higher end where you're planning a golf trip and with your buddies, and this is a golf course you play, once or twice a year. And that obviously would be a higher end. So I kind of always viewed golf courses kind of, in these different types of levels. And I view myself to be kind of that bottom level of, it is my job to get them addicted.
And I would prefer to phrase it differently. I would say that you are the big funnel, that's getting people, into the game. And then from there, they channel out into different things. But no, you're nothing like, I wouldn't characterize as the bottom. I'd say you're at the top, that funnel that comes in, different ways from there. So put that in the brochure. Brooks, I want to throw the same question to you, talking about just operationally. Are there difficulties that have carried over from the difficulties of previous 2 years? Have you changed your operation? And, are you still seeing new golfers coming in that the type of numbers that the industry suggests are coming in?
Yeah. So the first part of the question, certainly you can get things now, right? So supply chains have freed up, but the cost didn't go back down to pre-pandemic level. So, a Toro sprayer now is $170,000. So, it's, and you've seen this. I just got a new Yamaha golf car fleet, and it was $1,600 more than the first golf car I bought from them. I added custom seats, so maybe that's $1,350. So it's just like wild. The inflationary pressures that Allison talks about, and Toro. No disrespect to Toro, Yamaha, any company that their master is shareholder value, right? So they have no choice but to raise prices to match that. So it does trickle down. And then when you get into family-owned businesses, I just did my price increases last week. It's a tremendous. I love what Allison just said. I'm learning, that I'm not alone. It's almost a moral decision. It doesn't feel like a business decision. It's like, what price can I sleep at night charging? And with my margins ever decreasing. So, and that trickles down with used pricing. Just obviously when the cost of new, then supply and demand changes, and the cost of used goes up. So just all the way across the board, contract labor. We just did a big irrigation renovation, and they initially said it'd be somewhere in the high 100s per head on labor, and ended up being the mid 300s dollars per head. So, it's just over 2 years, cost of contract labor has nearly doubled. The cost of equipment has, nearly doubled. I hate to speak in like broad generalities, but these are 30% to, double price increases that, the small business owner has to deal with. Right. So, and then you go to the local level and you look at your labor cost. Everything that Allison just said. So, those are, it's just a challenging time. The demand has maybe never been higher. I think that's true. All the magazine articles say that. And certainly.
And you're seeing it too on your tee sheet. You're seeing that demand. Certainly.
Yeah. I look at COVID as a shot of steroids, not, I think that all the factors that are driving today's golf boom were already in motion before COVID. I just look at it as it accelerated it, maybe shone a light on it. But the influencer culture and Instagram and golf being cool, all of that had started happening at the grassroots level. So I think that, yes, and we're seeing significantly more women, especially young women, 20s and, young 30s, just awesome young women there. Our junior program is just full. We sell out every program we can bring on. We have 3 full-time in our Performance Institute plus 3 interns. So we have a staff of 6 through the summer. So we had 1.5 18 months ago. So yeah, just the growth is burgeoning in every vertical, both, on the revenue side and the expense side. So it's getting paid for. It's just, I just think Allison brings up perhaps the most existential question is, what do we do with pricing? Everyone is charging more for everything. So why would golf not do that? That's a pretty basic question to ask, but the answer is just much more complex than that.
It is. And when we get down to these macroeconomic things, during the Tiger boom, the golf sort of shot itself in the foot with this oversupply, of golf courses. And that was an issue. And now you have these pressures on prices. And, when you have that, Allison, I'll go back to you. So if you do start to charge more, that creeps up. You have increasing costs. You have to increase prices a little bit more. But that puts a burden on you also to sort of change the experience and to say the value, the proposition, for the customer. Okay, I'll pay a little bit more, but I want a little bit more. How do you find ways to increase that value proposition of the experience for your golfers that come in?
Well, what we have really kind of focused on is trying to diversify of the amount of different things they can do at the golf course. Right. And try and make up our money that way. Just like Brooks, I've got a waiting list of like 20 people for my junior program. I have a ladies program. We have 100 ladies in it, and we teach them and then play golf. And I could probably have 300. It's the demand, which is awesome. But I did increase, the price a little bit, but, I think, when you're the small business owner, I'm the one that's actually across the counter from them. And I hear, what they're struggling with, where, I'm not this, corporate exec that's just, pushing my pencil around and saying, well, we need to raise this thing, that's how much cost was, I don't care what the thing is. So, I actually am actively hearing them. I can't do that. I just can't consciously do it. So, I think I raised my junior program, $10, it's nothing. But it's just important to me that, I am continuing to, do my part, just even as a community leader, allowing things like those types of things. So, so what we do is, we have different product offerings that, if they do have more disposable income, then they can do those things at our course. So we've actually been experimenting with actually offering less services just because the staff cost is so high. And so there's, periods of time where it used to be we would always have, 2 or 3 people, working, and we've been tracking like slower periods of time and coming up with like different shifts than what we've done in the past. Because even if I can have, someone who's working alone, like maybe between, 1 and 3, 2 hours, that comes out to $30 a day, but that, that then adds up, where it used to be, when you were not paying a ton per hour, it's like, it's okay. I'll go ahead and let them be there for that 2 hours. But now, a couple of hours makes a giant difference to the bottom line. So that's really what we've been doing, is kind of keeping our services, I guess, the same, and experimenting a little bit on what can we do with fewer people. I know supposedly AI is going to take over the world, but I always compare, I've got this Roomba vacuum that's like the dumbest thing in the world. And I'm thinking, I feel very comfortable that AI is not going to take over because, my Roomba gets stuck on the edge of my stairs and says it's stuck on a cliff, and so, so I feel very confident that human interaction in the end is still going to win. And golf is a very human experience. I read somewhere that Walmart is moving towards that they're not going to have any checkout lanes eventually. All of their products will be encrypted with like a magnet or something. And then you're just going to walk out the door and kaboomba, you get charged. And so that, removes a human relationship that you used to have, at the checkout counter. And I don't think I just don't see how golf can ever get to that point because it's just such a human interaction in order to, create the experience that I think, relates to golf. And so that's kind of what we're doing is, continuing to provide that relaxed and fun atmosphere and, trying to do the same for less.
I get that. And I love the way you describe it, just, adding more and then taking more. And also with women, having so many women at your course. I know when I was in the operations business, we always used to say that the women at our golf courses were the ones in the family who controlled the watch, the calendar, and the wallet. So you better be listening to what they say because they will tell you all you need to know about what you need to provide and kind of little clues about at what price point you need to provide it at to Brooks's point. Brooks, I'll turn the same question over to you. I'm going to give you plenty of time to answer this one about your experience. Do you feel, I know that you want to provide as good a green grass product as you can. What other experiences have been successful and key to getting customers in and keeping them coming back?
We added a TrackMan simulator inside the pub. So we gamified the pub. That's done okay. Hasn't done great, most of which is on us. So that's one thing that we see on rainy days, Saturday mornings when the guys can't get a tee time. We saw a group play for 3 hours this past Saturday morning from 8 to 11 and had Bloody Marys. And, that was neat to see. That's a unique golf experience. Mm-hmm. I think, what comes to my heart when you ask me that question is not, it's not a great business. I don't know if it's a business answer, but it sort of speaks to this ethical dilemma. I don't know what the words we might want to use to talk about. Allison said, I can't in my conscience charge that, and so one of the ways that I've tried to answer to that is practice facility. So we built a 15,000 square foot putting green. We changed our 9th hole from a par 5 to a par 3 and kept the last, 200 yards of the par 3 old hole now. So we have an incredible wedge area, chipping green, bunker. So I take a lot of pride that you can come out here and pay $15 for a bucket of balls with 100 balls in it. So that could take you, depending on who's hitting them, between 20 minutes and an hour and 20 minutes. You could putt on a massive putting green. You can go chip. You can hit bunker shots. You can hit wedges. At least 3 hours for $15. And so I take a lot of pride in that. So that's one of the ways that, I feel like the answer to that is. And really my more macro answer to this is with the pricing pressures is, golf, what it means to play golf, Michael, is that definition is changing. So, you have the golf entertainment sector, we're going to drop the word entertainment one of these days, and it's just going to be golf. I think when you look down the road, hundreds of years, I think there will be far less golf courses than there are today. I still think there will be golf courses, but just with the pressures, with the West Coast pressures of water, the highest and best use land pressures, pesticide, chemical, POANA. There's so many threats to golf that I think that what it means to play golf, people are going to have to look at it as more of a balanced diet. Whereas, the purist, which is me and most everyone older than me, playing golf is 18 holes on a golf course that's regulation, not a championship golf course, not an executive golf course, not a par 3. but that person, that customer is going to age out. And we already see it with, Pop Stroke and, all the downstream effects, and Flight Zone with Allison's done really well. So I think that's where that's the answer to the pricing pressures. So, that's how I was able to maybe raise my roof on my pricing more than I was comfortable, because there's just a wider diet of what they can do. So they may play, instead of playing 12, 18-hole rounds at Franklin Bridge this year, they might play 7. And then they're going to go, do the TrackMan sim 3 or 4 times. And then they're going to go, do the putting green. And I just think there's different way, and just consuming it on YouTube, that's golf, and I think that, so that's the way I view the industry and the business. And I think that we have a big supply advantage as operators in most markets. There's obviously exceptions out there that are very competitive, but in general, I think the supply situation for the operator is very positive. So I'm bullish on our business outlook, and even the average price for the customer. Most simulators are 40, 50, 60 bucks an hour, and you can split that amongst people. Like, that's just not expensive.
Interesting. Very interesting stuff to me. And I'll pose this last question just as would you rather for the two of you as we close. Now, I'll go to you, Allison, but not who'd you rather, it's would you rather. Okay, just to be clear. Allison, would you rather have for free a brand new irrigation system, or would you rather have 5 bays of Top Tracer installed for free? Which would you rather?
Well, that's a hard one for me to.
I know it's hard.
I think it all depends on the state of your golf course. If I'm, I guess if I'm being honest right now, I have a 50-year-old golf course, which also equates to a 50-year-old irrigation system. So I'm taking the irrigation system because, that's the blood. And I've lost so much sleep over our irrigation system. It isn't even funny.
And I think you guys know why I asked, because it's that digital thing, the experiential thing versus the green grass thing, quality of the product, all those things. So Brooks, I'll put it to you. What are you taking a coupon for? The Top Tracer setup or the waterworks?
Well, 1 year ago, I would have answered the way Allison did, but we just spent $500,000 with Rainbird on a swing joint up irrigation renovation. So I've definitely taken the 4 bays. Well, but you got to deal with the city of Franklin and grandfather laws for expanding the building and where it's going to be. But we'll save all of the red tape for another episode, Michael. But I think it's both and. It's definitely both and. But I know you're not going to let me say that. So a year ago, been the irrigation renovation. Today, it would be the booths.
Well, and again, you kind of answered it because of the one that you did first. So I think, would you rather? I think you answered that. And by the way, if the city gives you any trouble, give me a call, man. I'll come down. I
think the root of your question is interesting because, I just put in a 10-bay Top Tracer facility, and right. I spent more than I probably would if I had just built a new irrigation. I think in the end, most of my business decisions, I always make revenue generators first. And then I go because I got to have the revenue before I can make those capital improvements. So
right.
Hopefully sometime I'll be able to do what Brooks did here before long with my irrigation system.
I get it. Well, I'll tell you this. You guys say you own a small business. No, you own 6 small businesses at least. As I tell everybody who thinks that golf is a small business. No, they're all operating 5 or 6 small businesses under one shop. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been a joy as always. You're 2 of my very favorite people. I guess we had how many more board members do we need to make a quorum? We can actually have a meeting in here next time. We do it. Okay? We have a couple more board members. That's for next time. We'll do that. Guys, thanks again. Brooks, Allison, thank you so much. We'll see you again soon, okay?
Thanks, Michael.
Brooks, Weston, Allison, George. I mean, those people are actually lighting it up in the industry. They're influencing people. We talk about influencers. We talk about people who can hit trick shots and, go to places and, drink drinks or whatever. These people are influencers because they are deciding how this game is going to grow. As Brooke said, the game is not going to look the same. The industry is not going to look the same in 5 years, 10 years. These are the people who are influencing which way this business is going to go. It's kind of spectacular to be able to get to spend that much time with them. And I hope you learned. You probably didn't learn as much as I did, but I hope you learned a little bit of something. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with like the house cat with house chat. It's going to be a lot of fun. So go get yourself a cold beverage and a crunchy snack. We'll be right back. Michael Williams, Golf Business Live, brought to you by the NGCOA. See you in a minute. Welcome back to Golf Business Live. I'm your host, Michael Williams, and we got so excited and did such hard work in that first segment. I actually had to go make a wardrobe change. I hope you all approve. Little details here, a little pink here, a little pink here. I hope that works out for you. Now we get to do our favorite segment, or at least our favorite segment here at NGCOA, which is House Chat, our opportunity to talk to you, the people who are running courses and the people who are providing goods and services that make golf course operations not only possible, but successful and profitable. A nice guest is a guy who is doing just that and has started a company, Club Caddie, that has just grown phenomenally. That's easy to say, phenomenally over the last couple of years. Jason Pearsall grew up in a golf operations family in Western Michigan and has worked at every job at a club, which is why he's so good at creating things that help every job at a club go better. After founding and selling an e-commerce company in 2010, he went on to invest and become managing partner of Flushing Valley Golf and Country Club near Flint, Michigan. He's done a number of things on the entrepreneurial side. And of course, now he is the CEO of Club Caddie. Please welcome to the show my good friend, Jason Pearsall. Jason, how are you doing, my friend?
Good, Michael. By the way, the wardrobe change looks excellent. You're looking really good. And I appreciate
thank you very much. I think you're right. That means everything coming from you. You are.
I'm a hoodie and hat kind of guy, so I have low standards.
So, looking good also, okay? You're looking like a golfer. Not only a golfer, I want to say a golf course owner, because I alluded to the fact that you've been in golf course ownership before in your life, and you are the current owner and operator of a golf course. And, I would say congratulations and condolences on that. Tell me, what golf course do you own again? Tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah, I signed a long-term lease to take over a Donald Ross golf course here in Metro Detroit called Warren Valley. It's in Dearborn Heights, Michigan, and it's a really unique opportunity. It was the first 36-hole Donald Ross course that was ever built. It had fallen under hard times, and for 2 years it was actually shut down. There was some severe flooding in Detroit, and that was the end of this course. And so the greens had all died. There wasn't a lot of turf grass left. There were a lot of weeds and a lot of fallen trees. And we were foolish enough to enter into an agreement to take it over. Fortunately, I have an excellent staff, a really good superintendent, and we just had a good team of people. We were able to resod all of the greens, overseed all the tee boxes and fairways a couple of times, repair the irrigation system, repair the pump, put new cart paths in on the entire course, restore every bunker to the original Donald Ross design. And we were able to open the course the next spring in April of 2023, although it still has some filling in to do. And then here a year later, it's really filled in well, and the course is in pretty good shape.
Well, that's outstanding. I mean, I look forward to getting out there to the Detroit, Dearborn, Michigan area. I've been to other places in Michigan to play, but I haven't had a chance to play sort of in that Detroit, Dearborn area. All my good friends out there, Golf WRX, as a matter of fact, are out there in Dearborn. I believe that's Ford country, right?
It is, and honestly, I mean, Oakland Hills, right up the street. The Rocket Mortgage is being played 4 miles north. It was actually the golf course Donald Ross built after a DGC, Detroit Golf Club, right after he built Warren Valley, and then Oakland Hills. So these are phenomenal pieces of property. People come to Michigan and they can't believe the golf courses that are here.
It's stunning. The golf course in Michigan is, I can't even say underrated. Maybe it's even underappreciated is probably a better word. So again, congratulations on your ownership and stewardship when you talk about a Donald Ross property. It's a combination of those two things. So all the best on that side. Let's talk a little bit about Club Caddie, because you created something, my friend, that is, I think, essential in the golf business. And I'll go back to when I was in operations many moons ago. And the issue was that you would have to have, with the 6 different departments that you have in operations on different courses, you'd have to have 6 different IT systems to run it: point of sale, inventory, your agronomy, the range, HR, payroll, all 6, 7, maybe 8 different systems, and essentially an IT department for each one of those. And maybe somebody who speaks fluent IT to make sense of all those things and put it together. It was a nightmare, almost never worked. And this is not only one problem, it's like 17 problems that has been solved with a piece of software like Club Caddie. You can tell people better than I can how it works. I can describe the problem that it fixes. You tell them a little bit more about what it does and how it does it.
Yeah, look, in 2015, I was fortunate to invest in a private country club in Flint, Michigan called Flushing Valley. And the vision that we had, it was a struggling private club that lost a lot of memberships as General Motors was in a decline in the Metro Flint community. And they couldn't support the club anymore as a private club. They just had too few members. So we came in and we bought the club, and the goal was to go semi-private, and we would, make those members happy, and we would supplement the income shortages to support the club's operations with public play. And that presented some very unique technology challenges for our team. We needed everything that a private club would need as far as, member billing and member minimums and, guest privileges and so on. But just as our members were accustomed to having and had been for the 100 years that the club had been there before we bought it. And suddenly we were opening it up for public play, and we needed distribution. We needed to get the course on Golf Now. But then we also had a 17,000 square foot banquet facility, and we did more revenue in banquets and weddings than we did in golf. We had a sports bar, a pool, a driving range, etc. And all of these needed different systems. Then I think the last one where we really decided we've got to do something about this is we tore out our locker rooms and we put in simulators. And now we need another reservation system for simulators. And we really looked at the technology stack. We were up to about 14 different programs to run our operation. And I couldn't give you a real-time status of here's how we're doing because, member balances were spread out across different systems. It was a nightmare at the end of the month trying to do all that reconciliation. Members had no clue with what they had just bought, look at a receipt and didn't know if this is even theirs. And by the time that they're getting billed for it a month later, nobody remembers what actually happened that day. And having a technology background, we decided we were going to start building golf course management software in approximately 2015, shortly after we bought the club. And that was kind of the genesis of Club Caddie. So, just to your point, we felt those same pains, having lots of different programs as operators ourselves, and we set out to solve the problem.
And what kind of feedback are you getting from your clientele, from your customer base? What feedback are they getting from you? Obviously, they're taking you in and they're retaining you. Are you solving the same problems that you had for courses, whether they're public or private?
Yeah, very similarly. People make technology challenges because they have pain points in their operation. There's either operational inefficiencies that require somebody to do a lot of work, and that somebody usually has a high cost associated with them relative to software, or else there's opportunities for additional revenue for the club to be made by adopting technology. And so the club is usually coming to say, I'm either looking to make more money in this way, or I'm looking to solve this pain point. And, when they come to us, we present the solution, and we're doing a good job of winning those deals.
So what are some of the more popular features that you have? The first thing that people say, yeah, I got to have this, for the top 2 or 3 that really attract and sort of nail down your customer base.
Yeah, the first is that most golf courses don't operate with separate food and beverage and golf shop departments or retail departments, right? And so commonly we have clubs that have an F&B solution, and then they have a retail system, and member transactions or customer transactions are split between them. In Club Caddie, it's a single database, a single module that handles both point of sale for the F&B operation and with the golf shop. So a customer could literally start a tab on the golf course, go out on the course, order F&B, and pay for it from a mobile device that we have called the Clover Flex while they're on the course, carry over that tab into the sports bar, split it up amongst a bunch of people at the end of the night and just cash it out. And it's little things like that. And not a lot of golf courses use it for that use case. But more commonly, what you have is you have clubs that are trying to charge people, and it's split between two separate systems. And so those customers are kind of confused when they're getting two separate bills, or they log into one system looking for a charge and they see the other. So that's one of the big pain points we solve, is we combine sales into a single system as opposed to the sales being split between multiple systems. A second, and I mentioned the first club that we bought, we did more in banquet revenue than we did in golf revenue, is that golf courses are event centric. So those are all the way, ranging from golf outings that every golf course has, most weekends spread throughout their peak season, is charity fundraisers and so on. And those can be kind of tricky because you're going to have potentially a breakfast and plans for breakfast and a location that's set up for breakfast. And then you need to have carts staged and have, certain format that the staff has made clear of. So the grounds crew needs to know, like, is hole 17 supposed to be set up as superintendent's revenge and so on. And that information, oftentimes doesn't flow to different departments. So there's a relationship between the grounds crew as well. You need to reserve the tee sheet and block off the tee sheet so that golfers aren't, booking tee times in light of a golf outing that would conflict. You need to set up lunch, dinner, etc. You need to account for that, the deposits that you receive for that event, and they need to go into a liability or a holding account until the event actually happens and you recognize revenue. And so an event like that can be really challenging. And, in the past, there just haven't been systems that were built to manage golf course events. So that was just an example of a golf outing, but we have league managers and online registration systems and clinic systems and the different ways that golf course events run. Club Caddie has a module to help operators run their events that way, as opposed to trying to conform their event to a system that wasn't really built for the way that golf courses operate. Another big feature that a lot of our clients sign up for is the mobile app. As you know, golfers and consumers are trending towards mobile. And so when you can access that customer anywhere they go with, they drive by your club and you send them promotion, enticing them to come by. If, they need to look at their statements or order food and beverage on the 8th hole to pick up at the turn, or even, check the distance from where they're at to the first pin, they're able to do that, through a mobile app, and quite a bit more too. And Club Caddie has an integrated mobile app that works with our system too.
It just, what strikes me is this balance that you strike, or the potential to share more information with your customer, greater and easier access to the owner operator's product. And you have greater, easier, more complete access to the information that they are generating about their goods and services and how they utilize the goods and services that you have. This is a lot of information that's going back and forth. I guess one question I have is, you obviously are a person who's geared towards wanting to know that information and make that information available through different systems. Do you find yourselves having to, I would say, tutor your client base in how to really utilize all this power that you're putting into their hands?
Sometimes, but honestly, we get tutored by our clients all the time too. So every golf course, well-operating golf courses have different ways of getting the information, right? And what we're trying to do is not tell them how to make decisions, but instead making the information they use to make decisions much easier, and even automating that into the experience, so that you don't have to necessarily train staff to know that Mr. Johnson likes to be seated by the front patio and have a glass of red wine ready for him by the time he sits there. But it's the moment that he walks into the club, the software is helping the staff to understand that, to improve that experience. And what's special about what we're doing, and I'm glad you caught on to the kind of symbiotic relationship there is between the software that we build helping operators and also the consumer, is that everything that we're doing is providing a better customer experience for the golfer themselves. But in doing that, we're making it much easier for them to spend money at the club. And when you make it easier for them to spend money at the club, that's good for operators.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay on course, know what they're doing, help them to get access to things. As I said, that better customer experience means a more profitable experience for the owner operator. And in my experience anyway, I know that you have dropped a new module, I think, and my notes tell me it's version 5.4.16. This is the latest update, according to my team. And there's a feature in there that helps with one of the most difficult and frustrating things. And we honestly used to haze people with making them do inventory, like the new guy has to do inventory. And so you've dropped a module that makes that not as much of a punishment as it used to be. Talk a little bit about that feature.
Yeah, look, as Club Caddie's moved upstream, we've taken on some really high-end golf courses. They have, $4 million of inventory on hand on site at the facility. So historically, the way that golf courses have done inventory counts is you either print out a spreadsheet of here's what your counts are according to the system, and then you count it and you write the difference, and then you enter it all into the system and press reconcile. And it's a lot of manual work, or else the way the Club Caddie used to do it is you used to take your tablet around with you and you'd enter the amounts on the tablet. And that still was kind of inconvenient. And honestly, this technology or this feature that we built, I don't believe is all that innovative. I think it's a core function of some of our competitor systems too. But we enable golf course operators to take a barcode scanner anywhere within 100 yards of the pro shop, scan every item, and it automatically does the counts. So, it just makes it a little bit easier to get that inventory count down, and hopefully that operator can spend more time interacting with customers as opposed to counting numbers.
Yeah, I mean, on the premise that time is money, it's going to save time, and therefore it's going to save money. I guess the third spoke on that wheel of internal information being generated, external information, and customer experience is the employee and staff. I know that part of what you do with Club Caddie is geared towards getting the operator to know and deal better with internal employee information. How does that work?
Yeah, so first, the software is ultra customizable to different employee roles. So an employee can even have multiple roles. Like at one day, Michael, who works at our golf course, might be working at the driving range and picking up range balls. And another day, he might be working as a cart attendant. And another day, he might be, working behind the counter in the golf shop. And all of those have different pay rates for when they're working those roles. And so, when he clocks in, he's going to choose the role of what function he is that day, and then he sees a very different experience. The software is tailored to exactly what he's going to be doing that day. If he's, working on the range, he doesn't need to see the tee sheet or have access to the bev cart or anything like that, right? He just needs to clock in. Whereas if he's working, as a cart attendant, we actually have a relationship there where the cart attendants regularly communicate with our starters and let them know which carts are coming up so they can put it into the system and just be a little bit more efficient. And so, he needs to see different tools and have access to different features based on what role he has at the club. You have different access levels, different permissions, different manager override settings, and so on that just make it so that as opposed to every employee having the same software, the software is really tailored to the role that the employee is having that day. We also build the software in a way that, we're operators. My father is a 70-year-old power user of Club Caddie. He could train most of our clients how to be effective on it. He works at our golf course, right? But we build it through the lens of recognizing that your average golf course operator has minimal computer experience and it needs to be intuitive, big buttons, quick, and easy to understand. So we build it in a way that we think makes it a lot easier to learn the natural flows of how golf course operations work, and try to just simply keep it logical. We have good training and education tools. An excellent director of education, Nicole Chapman. She's a former member director at American Golf and really gets the green grass side of an operation as well. And every new release, she does a video and explains how to use these features. And we have a university program where employees can log in and get continuing education and content or get caught up. And, we continue to push the envelope with some AI tools we're working on right now as well that will make it a little bit easier for employees. But our software is certainly built through the lens of making employees' jobs easier. I think some of our competitors are built through the lens of making it easier for a golfer themselves, right? And there's nothing wrong with that approach. And I think that both are important, maybe equally as important. But I think that, we start from the operator's lens first and build the software to make it easier for operators to use.
It's interesting to me because your software already does so much. There's so much capability already built in. So I guess my next question would be twofold. The first part of the question is it scalable? Can you get certain modules, or do you have to get the full meal deal? And the second part of the question is, what informs you about how to add a new thing? Because I notice you even have something for indoor, ranges now. I mean, the whole scope of what you do is ever increasing. Is it more the market telling you what to do, or are you anticipating the market when it comes to adding new features?
So the first question, we are as far as scalable, we can tailor it to any club with clicks of buttons, right? And so even clubs can turn on features to make it scalable for their employees, but we fully enable the club to do the customization their own, or we also during the implementation process usually work with them to set that up. So yeah, can be set to work any set of modules. The pricing is also reflective of the modules you use. So if you're not using the full system, we're not going to charge you for the full system, right? And that's a big part of our strategy. With respect to how we prioritize our requests, today we have nearly 400 clubs that are using Club Caddie, and we are very proactive about seeking suggestions and input from the operators, and we do that every quarter. So the result and the consequence of that is we get hundreds of requests, and the truth is that each of these requests have their own merits, they're great ideas. We want to do every single one of them, and so the issue becomes, how do you prioritize what to do first, right? So we try to keep it objective. We go through three criteria for every ticket. We ask how many clubs are impacted by the request, right? Is it 5 or 10 or is it 80? The things that impact 80% of clients are more likely to get done. How bad is the pain point that the request is trying to solve? Is this going to save an operator 30 clicks an hour? If so, that's a pretty big pain point. Is it going to save them 1 click a month? Then it's probably, a click that we might be willing to accept so that we can prioritize something that maybe does save them 30 clicks a day. And then finally, how much effort does it take to do the ticket, right? If it's a ticket that we can do in a day, we always do it in a day, always. The moment that it comes in, we have a dedicated team to doing those easy tickets, and we try to knock it out, the moment that we can, or as soon as we can. Now, it may not get done until the next release, but we're going to knock it out on our side as soon as we can. And the next month, you're going to get a release that has that fix. But if it takes 6 months to take on a request for a client, and it only helps a small percent of the portfolio, and it doesn't even really help them that much, it's probably going to get lower down the priority list. And so we keep it objective. We rank every ticket based on that criteria. The key is, at Club Caddie, everybody is a golf course operator. Our product manager is a PGA, Michael Rollins, one of our co-founders, former golf course general manager, had ownership interest in 2 clubs here in Michigan, still has ownership interest in 1. And everybody on his team is similar experience to what he has as a golf course operator. So that's the team that's prioritizing these requests. And we really think that when we're prioritizing them, we're prioritizing from a sense of empathy as operators ourselves.
You just used the magic word, empathy. And I was going to bring that up. When you have that experience with those, the joys and sorrows of golf course operation, you want to do something that maximizes the joy and minimizes the sorrow. And it looks like you've done just that with Club Caddie. As we close out with you, I just want to ask you one quick question, because there's a number of things, trends that we see in the industry from time to time, both on the customer side, the equipment side, certainly on the technology side. If you pull out your crystal ball, what do you see as a trend that's coming up over the horizon, and one that you anticipate having to address and implement in terms of what you do every day?
Yeah, artificial intelligence is real. I think at the PGA show next year, you're going to see almost every company rolling out their first versions of AI, and that technology will become more and more ubiquitous throughout the systems, in the sense that every module will have AI tools that are components of it. It could be on the tee sheet, you take player 1 and there's a bunch of recommendations of who players 2, 3, and 4 are. And today you can do that through machine learning and it works. But as you deploy some of these middleware and AI engines, you're going to be able to get much more sophisticated on the results and the answers that are coming out of the system. And they'll make them a whole lot more, user friendly, I guess, or fewer clicks and fewer questions that you have to ask the operator. I could probably give you 20, 30 examples off the top of my head for how AI is going to change golf course operations, but it's real, it's happening. And if I'm a golf course operator right now, my top priority is figuring out, what is my data plan? How am I making sure that I have all of my customers' data into a single place? It could be through Club Caddie, it could be through a system like Metolius. You could engage your own data lake or warehouse, but the only limitation for every golf course operator is going to be, how strong is the data that I have? Because artificial intelligence without data is not smart, and the artificial intelligence with more data is going to outperform. And so it's, golf course operators, you should be focusing on figuring out, what is your data plan? And if you need help with that, there are resources, I believe, within the NGCOA and certainly at Club Caddie that we can help you with.
Absolutely. As you know, artificial intelligence requires actual information, is what I always say. Jason, you proved yourself once again to quote one of my favorite cartoon philosophers, smarter than the average bear. Thank you for spending some time with us here at Golf Business Live, man, and House Chat. And really can't wait to have you back here at House Chat and also come to your house and check out that Donald Ross track. See you there.
Appreciate it, Michael. We'll see you soon.
You got it. It's Jason Pearsall, CEO of Club Caddie. What a look into that crystal ball. I think he's absolutely right. Even when you have a piece of software that helps you to manage information, the idea of AI helping you to make those decisions, anticipate customer needs, cost overrun, all sorts of things. It's an exciting time, really, for all of us, no matter what industry you're in, but especially in golf course operations. The prospect of having this type of power at your disposal to make your experience and your customers' experience better. Again, it's exciting, and I look forward to seeing it and hopefully seeing you at MCO if that's where you're planning to be. Multi-Course Owners Retreat in Monterey soon. But that does it for this edition of Golf Business Live. I want to thank our guests today. I want to thank our production staff. That's Taylor Wall and Harry Morrell, Wonder and the Wizard. And of course, thank you for watching and listening. Until next time, we'll see you soon. This is Michael Williams, your host, and this is Golf Business